up to full service listings to give consumers more control over the sale of their property. And so we've really seen a lot of success over that. We saved homeowners over $700,000 in the first 18 months and sold over 100 homes in that time frame.
That's incredible. Yeah. So it's all about saving those closing costs, saving those realtor fees for the homeowners.
Yeah, it is. But it's also about giving efficiencies for realtors, right? So, the problem is that real estate agents run around and do a lot of work for free and they don't get paid for it. And that keeps the cost extremely high because they have to make up for it on the other deals that happen very quickly. So the way we're looking at it is if we can do some more on demand and connect consumers and homeowners directly when they need it and drive more efficiency, and a realtor can make $250 today by taking a phone call, then the agents can lower the cost on the back end on the traditional side of things. So and they can pay their car note, their house note, all that stuff by making those on demand services in real time.
Right, they don't have to worry about having to wait for so long before that commission.
Exactly. That's the thing that a lot of people, the high performers make a lot of money, but the normal run of the mill agents might go a month and not have a deal, right? And so that'll allow them to continue to work and grow experience and deliver service to consumers.
Yeah, I mean, with the world of people living paycheck to paycheck, imagine if your paycheck to paycheck is a month apart.
Right.
Can you budget well enough to live a month without having any income coming in?
No doubt. And that $250 you make with a phone call with Falaya might be the difference, or take 2 or 3 of those a week and you made $1,000 this week, So that can really change up the game for realtors if they really understand what we're trying to do here. It's not all against realtors. It's about creating the real estate process more efficiently, right? There's just so much waste in the process, and that's what Falaya is focused on.
I love that. And so you've actually been on the Patty G show. We had a full-on show with you. So if you're interested in listening and learning more about Falaya, go check that episode out. But I saw that you were doing something, and you've kind of been developing this and building this over the last, month or so maybe?
Yeah, about that with
the a podcasting booth.
Right. It's a podcasting booth, right? So the kicker is, right, so we're trying to create efficiencies in the process, right? So we've got to educate homeowners on what to do when. Homeowners think they know how to sell a house, but they don't really. And so the podcast is going to help give them the information they need to move them through the process more efficiently. With our HubSpot automation and some of the deal flows, we can give them the information when they need it and where they need it. And we're going to use the podcast to kind of film some of that content with title companies, lenders, and those type of people to get some of that information out there to them.
So this morning in the first hour, we talked about moves and steps to take to better your business into 2022. And one of them was the social media presence, right? So getting your company in whatever facet you can out there to the consumers, to the end users,
right,
with content creation, social media marketing campaigns, with the digital age that we're in. That's kind of the way and the avenue that everybody has to be going. And y'all are doing exactly that within the podcasting world, whereas you're going to be recording this audio content that can then be clipped up into short form pieces of content. You can have photos from it. You can write a little article about it. You can do a blog post. So how has it kind of come to that for your company to make that decision?
So it's just extremely important to be out there making a brand for yourself. In this day and age, that's just the fact, right? No matter what business you're in. And those snippets are what we're looking for. I mean, are people really going to sit down and listen to the whole hour? Probably not.
Maybe.
Maybe. Come on, listen. I mean, we're kind of entertaining, But the snippets are where it's at, right? The Facebook clips, the Instagrams. And then if we can send those clips that are really informational to homeowners when they need them, they might be able to make better decisions on how to sell their property or list their property or get a sale or close a deal, right?
And even to that effect with the clips, if you've got these short little videos, now you can embed that in your app, right?
That's right.
Whenever you're going through... Whenever you're going through the process of how to buy a home, how to make an offer, you can pull from the podcast episode and have that as an embedded video that now I'm like, ooh, how to make an offer. Click, boom. Oh, There's a podcast video.
That's exactly right. So we've already filmed 3, which was our welcome video, our thank you video, and why Falaya video. Literally already did that. Like
in the studio.
In the studio. So we were already processing that. We've got a green screen too. So so you're exactly right. Like that's what the deal is, right? And so how can we do that efficiently? And you're right on the money. That's exactly what we're thinking.
So this is for some businesses, this can be quite a hefty investment, right? For those that, you've got your consultation fees to get somebody out to the space where you want them to go and to kind of build it out, right? So they've got to figure out, hey, if you're not an audio expert, which if you're running, a plumbing company, maybe you're not. Or if you're running, a paint company, maybe you're not an audio expert. Or maybe you are. Maybe you were a DJ back in high school like myself. Maybe you know some things. But if you don't, then you've got to pay this consultation fee. Then you've got to buy equipment.
Sure.
Now you've got to buy settings. I mean, you can't just, unless you're having a standing podcast with microphones only and, you're just recording standing up. But y'all's is a really cool space with chairs, a comfy vibe. You've got a window hanging up in the background with some curtains. I'm like, man, is that a real window?
We're going to backlight that window. I haven't done it yet.
It took me a hot second to realize it was not a real window.
Yeah. It was only like $80
for the window.
The whole window and the setup right there. I mean, it's not that bad, and it creates a lot of talk, right? So the bottom line is you got to make it interesting. We're trying to create a brand that actually is impactful, that looks professional, that can be investable and grow outside of Baton Rouge. Like we're in New Orleans, we're in Mandeville, we're in Shreveport, we're in across the state of Louisiana, and then expanding out to the southeast, hopefully. So we want it to be professional and we want it to be good. And really, if we pick up one listing out of the deal, that's a full service or a 1%, it's going to pay for itself. So that's the way I look at it, is that the investment will return. There's no doubt about it. Also, the biggest thing for us and for me is creating a avenue where we actually learn to do this stuff, right? Not hiring Flashbang or any of these other people to do it every time, but actually integrated it into the people that were working for me and myself so that we can then execute and go and grow, and it becomes embedded in our company, part of our DNA.
Right. It's no longer just an outsource or a hire to create this content. Now you've got your own content creation department and your own business.
Right. That's right.
And it is a significant investment up front.
Right.
But like you said, you're trying to build a brand that goes outside of Baton Rouge.
Exactly. And if I go and I try to record a commercial or try to hire somebody outsourced to do that, man, if I did two things, I would pay for it, right? So you see what I'm saying? So really, at the end of the day, getting that in your DNA and knowing that you're going to have to, everybody's going to need at some level be a media company, that you need to ingrain that in your organization, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the traditional avenues of advertising, the traditional avenues of marketing, your paper ads, your video ads, your TV ads, your billboards, they're all created by an advertising agency or a marketing company, right? Rarely do you find businesses such as Falaya that takes the time to invest into an internal marketing division that is solely focused on content creation.
Right.
Like their whole purpose is to create the content instead of hiring people to come in and create that content. But you now have it in perpetuity, right?
Right. But see, I have hired people to help me, and I've realized that's okay. I got good product, but I was like, I want to tweak that. Ooh. So we're learning and we're growing. We're still not. We're not Coca-Cola yet. We're not walk-ons, Canes. We don't have a message 100% honed in. We know what we want to say every day, all day. So we've got to be able to ebb and flow and be able to change the content easily and quickly. So I can't just go and hire someone outsource, because then I'm going to have to go back and hire them next week because I might change what I'm going to say.
You're hiring them every week.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm saying? We're young, so our messaging is different. It's going to change. We're learning. We're growing, and so.
And you're paying, a couple $100 an hour to a company to come in, which rightfully so. Their rates. It's not like we're not bashing their rates by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
We're just saying from a cost perspective, as a business, you've got a couple $100 an hour to have a whole organization come in and film your product, or you pay somebody $25-$30 an hour.
That's right, and that's
you have a full-time person.
We have an editing guy now, and we have Yeah,
if you have a full team that you're paying, the cost in the long run, because you can come in every day.
That's right.
And you can film it, and you work. If you know they're going to be there from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever the hours, the business operation hours are, you as a business owner can walk in and say, "Hey, I've got something on my chest. Let's record. Fire up the mics, fire up the studio. Let's get it going." And you get it right then and there when it's fresh in your head, fresh in the moment. You come out of your shower, you've got those thoughts.
That's right.
You want to know, you know what you want to say.
That's right.
Whereas instead of scheduling it out for a couple weeks, now you've got to work with their schedules.
You're excited about it, and you're excited about it. When you get on camera and excited comes across. It definitely is the whole thing, right? And it definitely puts a vibe into our team, right? So it definitely raises the team up and gets them excited. So it's a lot of everything, right? Built into it, but we're really excited about what we got going on. I know it's going to be the right move, but it is risky. It is risky, but it's all risky.
It's a big risk.
It's all risky, right? So like, if I wasn't going to be risky, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd just be, showing up to work. I wouldn't be here talking to you. I'd be.
And that's what I think it also shows, outside of just Falaya being risky and Barret being risky, is that there's an appetite for this type of media, this type of content creation right here in Baton Rouge, right?
Oh, for sure. No doubt.
There is an appetite for something like this.
No doubt. Your show, a couple other people, there's a lot of people doing some cool stuff that are creating content, and I think that's extremely important. And that's really, honestly, the future of everything, right? Is creating that brand and that following. And especially with us, we need a movement, right? A Falaya movement is what we talk about, because we are a low-cost provider, and we need that referral network and people to talk and tell other people about us.
Exactly. So we've got a minute left before the break. When we come back, I want to kind of further expound on the content creation avenue, but take a different look at, is it possible to create too much content? Is there a potential for an oversaturation of your message getting out there? I want to get Barrett's take on that, but I want to also look at, from a logistical standpoint, is it that tricky to get something like this off the ground? Is it that expensive to get something like this off the ground? Is there maybe some room in the market for someone to create a space like this here in Baton Rouge? Is there a space that maybe the new marketing agencies start creating podcasts for people? All very interesting things. We're going to get to it right after the break here on Mornings with Brian Haldane. I'm Patty G, filling in for him on Talk 107.3 FM. Investing in your brand for the new age. Getting your brand out there on social, getting your brand out there in front of the people. Social media channels may come and go. Your Instagram may not be here. Your Facebook may turn into Meta, and we all may go into the digital age workspace. Who knows? But what is going to be there forever is the brand of your business. And as you contemplate on this National Day of resolution making, look at your inner workings of your brand. Look at the inner workings of your company. Figure out what ways, in addition to streamlining and automating systems, how can you establish, if you haven't already, a footprint for your brand? And if you already have an established footprint, how can you further push that envelope of getting your company before and in front of those potential customers, those potential investors, maybe, if you're a new company? How can you go about doing that? Barret is doing that with Falaya. He just put in an incredible podcasting space that is going to change the way that not only he creates content for his brand, but what I want to get into it with him is maybe changing the mentality of those business owners, maybe changing the way that old media and new media collide, maybe having marketing companies and businesses look at themselves internally and say, hey, is this really the best product we can offer our clients? Is it really the best product by selling them a paper ad? Is it really the best product by putting up a billboard? Maybe we need to venture out and start doing something new. Well, Barrett's doing that with podcasting. And he's doing that in a way with film, photos, audio, live streaming even, all the above, with nothing more than a $50 frame, right?
Yeah, right.
No, so you've got what I would kind of classify as right almost at a state-of-the-art studio, you know?
Right.
You didn't go and blow the bank and
Right.
spend $250,000 building a studio, but you built something that is going to produce stellar content with stellar quality laced in to that content.
Yeah, we definitely, we got, consumer pro slash materials, so we're not quite on the high end, but we're in the decent end of things and making it look good, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, for someone doing it themselves, like
Right.
you've got all of good gear to make it happen.
no doubt. And I mean, I think it's important. Really, the audio is the biggest one, right? So the mics and
That's
stuff like
podcasting, so it's kind of like having a bad microphone for radio.
Yeah, you can't do it, right?
Like if we were in the studio right now at Guarantee Media and we had some bad quality mics on the radio and the airs, it's like, oh, it's not good, but
Right.
you make the investment where it counts.
Yeah, no doubt. And we're lucky to have a good space at the Nexus Louisiana Tech Park. And so, with that, we were able to leverage the space and where we were set up at and the network that we have there to kind of grow this brand.
Yeah, and like you were saying off the air on the YouTube Live where we're taking our break, when you have a Zoom call, your background's your studio because you were able to incorporate this podcasting area into your existing office space.
That's
So
correct.
you didn't have to go and rent new office space.
Mhm.
You just had to reimagine how you had the desks in the room.
Well, we actually didn't move from one office to the other office because I knew that I needed the space because you need depth of field, right? That's the
Right.
key. The only difference on like podcasting, you really need depth of field for the visual side of things. It's hard when you're up close to get that same feeling. So we moved into a slightly bigger space, not much, but enough to accommodate it, right?
Yeah, and even within that sentence there, for the video aspect of a podcast, when you think about radio, everybody always says, oh, you've got a great face for radio because you never see us.
Right.
You're in your car or you're listening to us on your computer or the old, actual box radio sets. You're listening. There's no visual component of it.
Right.
And now we've got, a single
YouTube.
camera in the studio here for YouTube Live.
That's right.
Whereas podcasting's kind of got that same knack, right? It's always audio first. People
Right.
are recording audio so you can listen to it on your Spotify, your Amazon Music, your iTunes, wherever. But whenever you say video podcasting, that in and of itself is changing the way podcasting's done. And radio, for that matter, is adding that video element, which is so key to when you're looking at your content creation and now taking those clips.
Yeah.
And so changing that mindset, was it a challenge or was it always something you knew had to happen?
It's kind of something I always knew had to happen because the way people are consuming media now, right? People are consuming media on their cell phones, social media, YouTube. There's a lot of over-the-top OTT and CT connected TV that people are starting to go to. So there's just so many different avenues to connect the consumer now. So we know that we've got to get our message out there about, how Falaya is disrupting the real estate space and giving consumers more power and control over the process. And the only way we knew to do that was to create more and more visual content. And it's those snippets, those little tiny things. And I think that's the way the future is going to be, right?
Oh,
I think it's going to be
100%.
a mimic of things, right? So you need radio, you need print, you need this, but I would say those companies that are providing the services also need to provide video content. Like I sat down with some people, I'm not going to drop names, but if they start to create video content for their advertisers and they also sell traditional advertising on top of it, I think that is where the future is going to go, right? So
Yeah.
you mimic both the visual with the traditional.
You got to have that hybrid model
You do.
of
I'm
content
telling
and
you.
marketing, because when you look at how video used to be created, you had to go to a studio, pay thousands and thousands of dollars to film a TV ad, right?
Right.
All these big cameras, this big bulky equipment to film everything, whereas now a savvy person with an iPhone 13 Pro,
You can go with a backpack. Like
or even an iPhone, you can go and get a good film. You put on a little fluff ball wireless mic,
Yeah.
a little Rode wireless mic, and you have them out in the public, and you're filming with your iPhone. You can still create good quality content that people just have to look at it when you're looking at your business marketing plan going into next year. Think about how you can change that creative outlook, right?
Right.
Think about how you can adapt some of these practices. I'm not saying, go out and build a $10,000, $20,000 podcasting studio. Now, if you have the money and you really want to go and get all risky in it, go for it. But if you're looking to just take maybe a small step, I would say that iPhone and,
Oh,
something
yeah.
simple just to make it.
Very easy. I mean, there's an iPhone. You could do an iPhone with a Rode GoPro and two lav mics. And they sell this where they actually have two inputs now, where you could literally hook up an iPhone with an extension and then a Rode GoPro and two lav mics. I would say you would be all in for $300 and a little tiny stand. And you maybe be all in for $350 and you could shoot.
Yeah.
And record with good audio and do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Literally in your pocket and walk and go, right? And so there's an opportunity for that. And we've got a pack to go to, you know, if we go to New Orleans at the Idea Village or we go to Baton Rouge Entrepreneur Week, we're going to bring stuff like that with us so that we can film content with people that are there. And
you can get a live take on what's happening. You can have that content. Trade shows
are extremely important for everybody that's listening. If you're going to a trade show, you need to be filming. You need to be creating content with people that are providing inside that trade show, talking to consumers, all that type of stuff, and getting your message out there and letting people know that you're in a trade show, what you do, how you do it, and that's why it's extremely important.
Yeah, and otherwise you have to hire somebody to do that, right? If you just have a single person dedicated to doing something like that, you know, if you are looking to for that next hire to take your brand to the next level, and you are investing heavily into marketing using an organization or something, maybe take a gander at hiring somebody full time. You know, I'm not saying you have to pull a Gary V and have somebody film you 24/7. No. You know, if like for a realtor, it's actually not a bad idea, right? If you're going into showings, a lot of them do.
Trey Willard
from the W Group. He was a previous guest on my show.
Because it was funny when you interviewed him. It was like he said he bought all the gear, and then he ended up realizing he needed to hire somebody. And I did the exact same thing. You know, like, I'm going to tackle the world by myself, and
you can't.
You need somebody else to help you a little bit.
As a business owner and entrepreneur, your skills are set in moving the business forward.
That's right.
It's maybe not the best set behind the camera, unless you're a content creation company and a media company. Maybe you are best behind the camera. But for those that are, you know, your law firms, your accounting firms, your real estate companies, your restaurants, your chefs, you know, your plumbing companies, your bricklayers, your pool manufacturers.
The key of that is to film when you're working, what you're doing, right?
Yes.
Like Sheffy is filming himself going to his construction site. He's probably spends 10 seconds to do that. Or
he does a quick walkthrough. Put some music to it. You've seen that, you know, and I actually know who did that. They did a really good job on it, right? So it's really not hard. Just film what you're doing when you're doing it at a trade show or at work or at a job. Contractors is a really easy deal. Right? It's super easy, and like we said before, like the iPhone is your best friend when it comes to that. If you don't have a budget to go out and buy some big equipment, hire somebody to do it. Guess what? LSU has students looking for internships.
They do.
Get an intern. You can offer course credit through an internship at LSU. A little hint there. But, you know, hire somebody like that who knows how to work a phone, that can record something like that and capture you doing it. Don't ask yourself, will someone watch this? Is this valuable? Who cares? You know, document your process. Put it out there for people to see.
That's right.
It's like a photographer, right? They're trying to sell their business. Mm-hmm. They're trying to sell their stuff on Pinterest, Instagram, Facebook. They're giving out lookbooks. They're giving out sample packets. You know, here's my digital resume. Well, as a company and a brand, your digital resume is your social media.
Right.
People do business with you because of what they see.
The first thing, and it's not even only for businesses. It's also for people that we're trying to employ, right? I mean, we go on their social media.
Exactly.
Especially if you're a marketing or content creator and I'm trying to hire you for that job, you better have a resume that I can look at and see instantly. And a portfolio of content that you've created, right? If that's what you want to do.
If that's the avenue you want to go. We're not saying, you're not going to look for people with 20, 30,000 followers because they have this great story. But all right, so we've got 30 seconds left. We're going to have one more segment after the break. I love taking this avenue of changing the mindset for those in business, changing the mindset for how you look at your marketing plan rolling into 2022. We're going to have one more segment of this coming back after the break. I'm Patty G, sitting in for Brian Haldane on Mornings with Brian Haldane, right here on Talk 107. Brian, our last segment to go in the show, the last show of the year for me. Before we get into 2022, some final thoughts we're going to leave you with in this segment before we wrap up. We got roughly, 2 or 3 minutes to go. So moving into 2022, today is National Resolution Day. Barret, what resolutions do you think businesses should have going into 2022? By the way, this is Barret Blondeau, for those of you just tuning in from Falaya Real Estate.
Hey, guys. So, I obviously think, you need to, get your brand out there and definitely get your message out there and try to cut through the noise. It's been hard with COVID and everything that's going on to get your message out there. I think that was one of the hard things we launched in 2020 and tried to cut through the noise at that point. But I think, doing that with our podcast, we're trying to get the message out there about how we can save homeowners thousands and thousands of dollars and how we can, be more efficient in the real estate process.
Yeah, I think for any business, that brand awareness, innovating on your already existing processes, making them either automated or more efficient should be a focus for 2022.
Yeah, the transaction for us, it's all about creating efficiencies in the transaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So business process efficiencies and moving consumers from listing a house to the sale efficiently and effectively, connecting them to who they need when they need it, right? And that's what business owners need to do too, because times are interesting, so efficiencies are going to become key.
Efficiencies, ease of connectivity.
Right.
Remote working's more and more prevalent. It's not going away.
Well, that's why we have the virtual realtor appointments, right? Is we know that's going to be the case moving forward.
Yeah. And being able to change the way you think about things and look at it from a new angle, I think is going to be something that business owners need to focus on.
Right.
In 22 is what can we do to go against the grain? What can we take that has been traditional over the years and make it our own?
Right.
How can we get a new outlook on business? How can we get a new outlook on transactions, maybe hiring employees? Earlier in the show, we talked about employers automatically enrolling new hires in the 401k program. Reevaluating your benefits you offer as the employer is something you can do. And for people looking to get into something in the world of business, the tools are there. The resources are there.
They are.
In this day and age of technology, it's easier and easier to get a business off the ground. If you want to do something as a hobby and turn it into something that makes profit, now's the time. Make those resolutions, reevaluate, what you want to do with your time. Time is never guaranteed. We don't have tomorrow. We only have today. We got to look forward to putting into place those next steps, making the change if we want to. If you want to keep doing the same thing, keep doing the same thing. But I don't know of anybody that wants to stay stuck in the same routine, stuck in the mud, as they say. So, everybody, I hope you all have a safe and happy New Year. Barret, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody else, for tuning in. This is Mornings with Brian Haldane. I am Patty G. I hope you'll have a great rest of your day.